class. Where I'm speaking to you is from Burdulis Acupuncture Wellness Center, Missoula, Montana. We wanted to try and help our patients and others understand more about their bodies in terms of the Chinese medical system. We all grow up here in this country with a lot of Western medical understanding about nutrition, diet, lifestyle, etc., how we should or shouldn't eat, live, etc., to be healthy. But in Chinese medicine, there's thousands of years of information that provide a little bit different understanding, and why I particularly have found this system to be important is because not only it's helped me, and I see this proven every day clinically, but there have been thousands of years that have gone into this information. So a lot of research, you could say. This is very anecdotal information, but because it's gone on for thousands of years and with millions of people in a broad variety of climates and geography, it's really kind of extracted the essence of quite a bit of knowledge and things that apply today to really make changes. So hopefully this further empowers you to improve your health. And one of the key things I wanted to start with is this provocative facts. So I try to introduce the class with an understanding of Chinese medicine. Why would you choose to listen to anything I have to say? So I had a lot of issues with my health since I was very young. I saw a lot of doctors in my teens, 20s. I finally developed what's called CFIDS, chronic fatigue, immune deficiency syndrome, affecting my heart. And I was diagnosed by a doctor at Stanford, and I was told I might end up living in a small room and having a doctor come visit me because I was so disabled I wasn't able to leave. So I wasn't happy with that. Having finished the pre-medical requisites to go to Western medical school and understanding from this doctor at Stanford that they didn't really understand why this happened and also were not very good at treating it. I chose Chinese medicine, and that's resulted in a lot of information that's helped me personally with my health and a lot of others. So I'll try to provide kind of an east-west balance to give you a better understanding of why this medicine might be able to have some knowledge where Western medicine hasn't yet, although it's very interesting. I find with more and more time, we're getting information from these long-term health studies verifying the information that Chinese medicine has found over thousands of years. So very interesting to see how this is kind of circling back around. So with some of the provocative facts, one would be the year 1900 and 35,000. So any idea maybe what was happening in 1900 that would correspond with that number? And most people wouldn't know. So this is just to provoke thought and engage people. But believe it or not, by the year 1900, there were actually over 35,000 Chinese medical texts. So huge libraries of information just on the medical system. So typically, going back thousands of years when it first started in written form, and they think going back 5,000 years, more verbal. Usually in the male lineage, a man would see a patient, write down information, chart the progress, and then follow sons and daughters, grandsons, granddaughters, and then all of that information that was collected about all of the patients he saw in a particular region would then be passed down to a son, usually through males, and then passed down year after year. And so these huge tomes of work collected. So this is where this information and knowledge comes from. So believe it or not, a huge amount of information already by the year 1900. The second provocative fact comes from Western medicine. Many people come in their 50s and they say, well, you know, I'm 50 years old, and they think they're supposed to have the same number of symptoms as they have years in their life. There should be 50 or more, they have 1 foot in the grave. But actually, Western medicine has found even at the tender age of 75, we should only have 15% diminishment. So this is very shocking to a lot of people. They're surprised to find that even into your 80s and 90s, you should have quite a bit of function and vitality in your life. That doesn't tend to be the case. We have increasing amount of chronic disease. And so yes, most people by the age of 50, certainly 55, 60, are finding more and more symptoms, more and more debility, because most people are not making it past the age of 65. If you do, they find your chances of living well into your 80s and 90s relatively healthy are very high. Good news. But unfortunately, a lot of folks are not making it past 65 in this current generation of people between the age of 50 and 65. The next is also from Western medicine. In my pre-medical training, I had already learned and found this very, very interesting. I had problems with my digestive function for years, since I was a little girl, all sorts of problems and complaints. And when I got into my pre-medical work, I had already learned in biochem classes, digestive enzymes only work in a 3-degree temperature range. And yet I had never heard a doctor mention, oh, well, your temperature is too low. Of course you're having digestive problems because that is below the temperature enzymes work. So if they're not working, the food sits there and rots. It's literally too cold for those enzymes to work. Even if a lot of people are taking enzymes, if the temperature is not right, they are not active. Okay? So that would be something that's very important and a big part of why we recommend people checking their temperature. So you want to check it in the morning, before getting up, and this really comes from Western medicine. Prior to getting out of bed, the temperature should be above or equal to 97.5. After you rise, wait 30 minutes, check your temperature again, and the temperature should then be above or equal to 98. And then with movement, that temperature should continue to increase to 98.6. And then stay throughout the day. Very frequently, people find they get to 10 a.m. in the morning, the temperature is already dropped. That meant you got some of those hormones for the day, they're warming, they're energizing, and you only got enough to last 1, 2, maybe 3 hours, and the rest of the day, you'll have lower function, low energy, difficulty in thinking, digesting food. So very important to see that you reach that temperature, and it can hold all throughout the day until the next set of hormones kicks in, which should be, on average throughout the U.S., about 5:30 to 8 p.m. at night, and the temperature should then drop, but only half a degree, not drop below 97.5. That way you know you're regulating 2 sets of hormones. There's one set for day, one set for night. So 5:30 to 8 at night, on average in the U.S., you should get cooling, moistening hormones. They're literally cooling, so the temperature drops. But in the morning, after you get out of bed, the temperature should increase. That means you're getting that surge of hormones for day. They literally are warming, and the temperature should rise. And then just sheer movement should bring it up the rest of the way to 98.6.
This very
And we're just going to go ahead and stop.